Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be starting my first video in the OSCP series. So in this series, we're going to be doing every machine from this list right here, the TJ null list. So we're going to be doing all these machines from the hack the box TJ null list, as well as from the PG practice list as well. So if you're preparing for your OSCP exam, this list is a must do, since it features machines that are OSCP like. So you'll encounter a lot of machines here that are sort of like the exam. And today we're going to be doing a machine from Hack the Box called by BlackField. Now this is a pretty easy machine, which is rated as hard on Hack the Box, but I personally feel it to be really easy. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as usual, I'm going to first create a folder called BlackField. I'm going to cd into BlackField, and then as usual, I'm going to run nmap against the IP and scan it for any open ports. So let's do that. All right. And we already get some hits. So we have port 53 open, we have port 445 open, we have port 135 open, and I guess there are a lot more open, but let's wait for the scan to complete. All right. So while we wait for the scan to complete, let's just go ahead and enumerate port 445, which I suspect to be an SMB port. So let's do that. So to do this, I'm going to be using a tool called NXC. So NXC is a tool that you can use to kind of check if the credentials you have authenticate to any of the services on this machine. And you can also use it to list out shares and access shares and all those things. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do NXC SMB. NXC SMB, going to move this. I'm going to leave the password as empty. I'm going to leave the username as empty as well. And just sort of try a null authentication onto this machine right here. So I'm going to paste my IP address there. And let's see if the anonymous thing works. I'm going to press enter and just sort of wait for a bit. So our scan so far has yielded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ports to be open, with one being 53, which is a DNS port. We have 445, which is again an SMB port. And then we have 5985, which is an evil win RM port. So these two seem very interesting to me. And then we have the port 88, which I expect to be Kerberos, 389 to be LDAP. And there we go. So coming back to our SMB authentication attempt, we get our domain name as BlackField, and as you can see here, null access is allowed onto our server. All right, but we cannot enumerate any shares because we're not allowed to access the shares using this. So now that we know that anonymous access is allowed into the system, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to try to brute the RIDs of the user. So RID brute, and what this is basically going to do is, if this works, it's going to give us a list of all the users on this machine. So I'm going to press enter and just wait for a bit, and hopefully it works. And while that's running in the background, I'm going to open up my hosts file and just add the IP address and this into the host file, the domain name, which is blackfield.local. So let me do that. So 10.129. The IP being 229.17, followed by blackfield.local. Perfect. I'm going to close that. There we go. Oh, perfect. So the null authentication worked. It's worked as well. Now let's see if we get a list of users. Okay, status LSAD session access denied. So we cannot do that. All right, no problem. No problem at all. Nothing too interesting. Well, we do have RPC open here. Maybe we can try to log into that using the null credentials, RPC client, PC client U as null, P as null, and then of course the IP address followed by that. We're gonna put that there. I'm gonna press enter and we get an error. So let me just check out how to use RPC client. RPC client syntax. Okay, so you're supposed to use a capital U and not a U and P. We'll just fix that quickly. Okay, enter. Let's hope we get connected. Put an anonymous password. Okay, we're in. So now the first command I'm going to run here is enum dom users, and that's basically going to give us a list of all the users in this domain, hopefully. Let's do that. And we get a status access denied. Very interesting. Enum dom groups. Okay, exit. Let's just do an enum for Linux. Maybe this ought to give us something. Let's see if enum for Linux works as well. Gonna paste that there, gonna press enter, and yeah. Anyway, so now that we know that that's not working, let's try authenticating with the guest account. Maybe that should work, because in most cases, most Windows machines have guest enabled by default. So I'm just gonna paste that there, and I'll press enter. And yeah, let's just hope it works. So it looks like the guest account is allowed to log in, but let's hope we're allowed to read and write to shares as well, hopefully on this machine. Let's just hope for the best. Anyway, all of these over here, we're getting a user not found, so let's just clear that. Go back here, nothing much. Let me try to log into the RPC client using guest as well. Guest. Okay, log on failure. Oh, perfect. So we have access as guest. Oh, there we go. So we do have access as guest, right? So now that we know that our guest account has access to this SMB share, let's try to log on to this profile share right here. And while that's doing that thing, I'll just try to do an RID boot with the guest account. And this should hopefully work. So let's come SMB client, followed by my IP address there, followed by profiles. And then I'm going to put the username as guest. Center, log on failure again, or maybe just maybe a null credential. Okay, there we go, we're in. So let's do an LSLA just to see what we have here. Nothing. Let me try a dir instead. Maybe that's because this command LA is not recognized. Oh, there we go. So we have a list of usernames here. We have a Aleni, a Barteski, all of these names here. which kind of look like AD usernames to me. We also get that here. As you can see, our ID boot is working as well. But as you look over here, you can see we have a whole bunch of usernames here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this. All right. And I'm going to save it to a file. Copy that. Exit. I'm going to create a file called users.txt. Going to open that file. I'm going to paste all of these users in there. And then I'm going to remove all of these other characters because I just want the word list to contain all the AD usernames. All right. So let me come here, click on maybe search for replacing text. So I'm going to replace all of the D's with just emptiness. So it's going to replace all of that with nothing, then 0. Replace all, then blue. Replace all of that. Then John, gonna replace all of that. Then 4, gonna replace all of that. Then of course we're gonna replace all of this. Then we're gonna replace all the 11s. We're gonna replace all the 22s. Okay, now let's just scroll down and see if we have any more characters left. So we have 12 there. We have all the 12s. Basically just 12s remaining. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to replace all the 12s as well. Just like that. And we should not have anything else remaining. Perfect. Okay. So let's save this file. Close it. Just clear this out as well. As you can see, our ID brute has worked as well, but it hasn't yielded us any usernames. I don't know why that is. Just a bunch of names like BlackField 452, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna close that. And now with this list of users, I'm going to be using a tool called impacket get np users. And what that's going to do is it's basically going to identify all of the users with no pre-auth enabled. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do impacket get np users. I'm going to replace this IP address with my current IP address, which is, let me go back to my scan, this IP right here. I'm going to paste that there. And then we're going to replace garfield.htb with something like maybe, let me just cat the host file just to read our domain name. Blackfield.local. Perfect. So blackfield.local user file, users.txt. Gonna press enter. And let's just wait for it to get a hit. So if any user in this file exists that does not have pre-auth enabled, that has pre-auth enabled, then it should display it over here. So let's wait for a bit for this to complete. Okay. So while that's being done, let's log back into our SMB and try to basically enumerate all the other shares like the net logon, or the or even the other one like these. This is full share. Right? We just copy the IP again. Just exit out of there. Okay, so let's wait for it to run. While that's running, I'm opening a new session, SMB client, net logon. Just going to remove that. I'm going to put my IP here. Let me press enter. Let me rerun this so you can see all my shares again. Okay. Okay, press enter. Okay, so let's do a dir to see what's there in the share. And we're not allowed to view. Okay, let's exit out of this. I remember there being a sysvol share as well. So let's just log into that. Sysvol. Let's come back to our, see if we found anything. Nothing so far. Okay. Okay, press enter. dir it again. Now we have it. an access denied there as well. So I'm going to exit out of there. Alrighty, perfect. So we have to wait sort of for this right here to finish whatever it's doing, right? Let me just take a look at my VPN if it's stable or not. Okay, perfect. Let us read screen. So let's see. So it is still kind of reachable. So I reckon it's just we have to wait for a bit because it's a long user list. So let's just wait for a bit until it sort of finishes its thing. We have a lot of users in here, so it's going to take a while. A lot of users. All right, so while that's being run, let's try to enumerate our LDAP. Maybe we can find some other hidden stuff in there. Let's try to get into LDAP. So I'm going to run LDAP search, but I'm going to replace that with BlackField. This with my IP address here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to press enter. Successful bind must be completed to the application. Okay. So we're not allowed to anonymously bind to the LDAP thing that I reckon. So now after decades and decades of waiting, we finally have a hit. So we can see here that the the account support has no pre-auth set, and that means basically that we have a hash, and now we can possibly use this hash. We can decrypt this hash and get a plain text password, hopefully. So I'm going to copy this hash here, and I'm going to come to my new terminal instance. I'm going to create a file called touch hash.txt. Going to open up hash, going to open up the file. I'm going to paste my hash in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do John hash.txt, rocky.txt. That's it. Press enter and just sort of wait for it to crack. And as you can see, we have our decrypted password right here, which is hash 00 thing on the top, followed by Black Knight. All right. So let's go ahead and let's try now to do an evil WinRM into the machine by using these credentials. All right. So let me just copy the IP address back, put that there, and just replace the username with support and the password with whatever this is. Right, gonna put that in there, gonna press enter, and let's see if we get a shell or not. And while that's doing its thing, I'm just gonna come here and I'm going to use a tool called Bloodhound to sort of figure out what our next step could be. Right? So if you don't know what Bloodhound is, it's a really useful tool in understanding ACL relationships between two or more objects in an AD environment, and it's also a uh, really useful tool, especially when it comes to things like lateral movement and all of those things. So it looks like we got a shell here. Let me just do a who am I to see who we are. And while that's doing its thing, let me do bloodhound python, put my username to support and my password to the password that I just decrypted, the hash I got. All right. And then this, I'm going to put it as blackfield.local, hopefully. Field.local. Then I'm going to copy the IP from here. Let me just cross check my domain name, which in this case is, yeah, it is right. My domain name is right. It is blackfield.local. Gonna put the IP there again. Gonna press enter and then just wait for it to finish. So what this command basically does is it takes all of the object relationships and sort of stores them into separate JSON files, and then from that we're gonna and then from that we're gonna be uploading all of these JSON files onto the Bloodhound interface and sort of get an idea of what exactly are the relationships between the different objects. So let that do its thing. Meanwhile, I'm going to come here and I'm going to try to log into sysvol using this username. Support. Percent and followed by the username. Sorry, I mean the password. Press enter and let's see if we get any access with this account. Right. Okay. So let's try a dir. And we get this blackfield.local right here. So let's just cd into that because it looks like a directory to me, blackfield.local. Press enter. Okay, dir again. And just this stuff like DFSR, private policy script. Right, so I'm gonna go into policies, dir it. Nothing too interesting here, just a bunch of SIDs. I don't know what this is, but yeah, it looks like some hash or something. Okay, cd dot dot. Let's go into scripts, dir. Nothing interesting here as well. Okay, so now let me just try going into this DFSR over there. It's our private to a dir. Okay, so we are not allowed access. Sorry, my bad. So let me exit out of that machine here, I mean the assembly server here, and let me rerun the nxc command. So clear that out. C, just paste the IP there again. Just copy the IP. Paste that there. I'm gonna take my. Okay, so our bloodhound has just finished compiling everything into this right here. Right, so let's start up our bloodhound count. Kali. Let's close this. Right, so let me just, bloodhound is opening up. and it takes us to the UI. So just enter in the default credentials. In my case, it's admin. I'm gonna press enter. Alrighty. Then just do a quick upload. So just come here, come to BlackField, upload these files right there, upload them, and perfect. So close it. And let's just see if it's uploaded properly or if it's taking time. So as you can see here, it's ingesting at the moment. So let's just finish ingesting and then we can see if it has all the files or not. Okay, so our Bloodhound actually has 0 files for some reason. I think, oh, okay, we do have all the files here. My bad, guys. So let's go back to our Explore. And I'm just going to search for the user support at blackfield.local. I'm going to set this as the starting node. And I'm going to add it to owned as well. Okay. All right. So I'm going to scroll down and we can look at outbound object controls. And there we go. So it looks like we have a forced change password ACL over this audit 2020 at blackfield.local. Now let's just check what are the permissions of the audit 2020 and blackfield.local user. And it seems like this user is a member of the user and the domain as well. Okay. So we just go back to support again. Supported Blackfield. Which we already found it. Let me just do that again. All right. So we do have a force change password over this one right here. Right? So now what I'm going to do is, since we have the credentials for the support user, let me just get the credentials back. Yeah, so to do that, I'm just going to run this and I'm going to copy this credential here, copy, and I'm going to log into my RPC client. This time, support, %. I'm going to paste the password right there. I'm going to press enter. And there we go. So now through this right here, we can change the password. So let me just Google that. See, to change password. So what we can do is we can set something like this, set user info to target user 23, new password 123. So we log in and then we run this command, set user info to. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to run set user info to, and our target user is audit 2020. I'm going to use the 23 flag. I'm going to set the password as audit. Oh, I think it's stuck there. Just 1 minute. Right. So now I'm going to put the password as audit 2020 is on. Gonna press enter. Let's see if we get the right output here. Okay, so NT status password restriction. Who am I? Okay, let me see. Log in to RPC user. Okay, let's try this command. Exit. Okay, let me just put my domain here, which is blackfield.local /. Okay, now who am I? Set user in. Set user in. Okay, what about set user? Oh, okay. So you have to put in the expired password as well, right? But let's see if we can do it any other way because this seems really messy. So packet force change password. Or if you're ever stuck at this, well, let's just go back to our GitHub AD cheat sheet. This is a really good cheat sheet that I found on GitHub. It's really useful, and I recommend that you use this when you're doing your OSCP exam. So let me come here to my lateral prevest. Then I'm going to command F, and I'm just going to check for maybe force password. Okay, abusing ACL. I think it's under there. So um ACL abuse. We have using of ACL, escalating privileges, compromising SID abuse. Kind of interesting, but yeah. Let's try that again. Maybe since we're authenticated, let me just see if RPC client how to check which user I. Okay, so we run this command and we can see which user we are. LSA query. So domain name is BlackField and domain SID. Query user. Just run that command. Query user. Right. So let me just try running that again. Set user info to audit 2020 23 on. Password restriction. Okay. Let's try that with Impacket. Impacket change password. So if I just come here, maybe just look at the atoms that we can use. Just Google force change password exploit Linux. So like I'm pretty sure there's something wrong with the command here. So let me just try RPC find change define force change password. Okay. This page is not good. So what this is telling us is the target user 23 followed by information. No, okay. So we don't want to set the password. We want to change it. I think this is the mistake right here. We're trying to set a password for this user, but we're not allowed to do that. We can only change the password. So let me check. information level for changing password in C. Level 23. What does level 24 do? What does level 24 mean in RPC? So let's try that again, but this time set user info to set user info to audit 2020. Let me just see if you're actually allowed to change audit 2020. Oh yeah, it is for audit 2020. Okay. Audit 2020. Right, followed by the password. I want to set it. So I'm going to say on. I'm going to put that as 0 maybe, right? And just in the middle there, we want to put in the level of the user, username 23. Okay, so we're still getting a password restriction. So let's just go ahead to the walkthrough for this machine and see what they tell us, like how they did it. So, so they use a tool called bloody AD. So let's just copy this command, right? Copy this command from the walkthrough, come back, exit from here, and just put that there. Now, this is another great tool that you can use. It's called bloody AD. And the reason I'm using this is because I could not use my RPC client because I was getting a authentication error there. So let's just copy my IP address from there, paste that here, and just change the password to sort of maybe something like on at 123. Just press enter and just come over here and make a list of all the usernames and passwords that we've changed so that we won't have to end up doing them again. As you can see, the password has been changed successfully. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put audit 2020 in here. I'm just going to copy this, the password for that as well. I'm going to put that there. Perfect. Close it. So now that our password is changed for this, let's see what we can do with audit 2020 now. All right, let's try logging back into the SMB now with the audit 2020 credentials. So audit 2020 followed by, let me just cat compromise.txt, select on, put that there, and just list out all the shares that we have. Press enter on that. Just sort of wait and see if we get any hits. And if you come here to our interface for Bloodhound, you can see that we can set audit 2020 now as our initial block or our initial node. Then just click on it and set it to owned. Just scroll down. It's a member of users and the domain users, but we don't have any rights to actually log on to any machine. Okay, there we go. All right, so it just looks like our scan has just finished over here. So we can now log on to the forensic share as seen above. So let's just do that. So SMB client, log on to the forensic share, and then put the username in as audit 2020 percentage followed by pond 123. Gonna put that there. Gonna press enter. Okay, now let's do a dir to see what all we have in there. Right, so let's go into command outputs. Commands output dir again. Okay, so now we have some really interesting files in here. We have a domain admins underscore txt, groups, users. Let's just go ahead and get all of that. Get all, I believe. Okay. SB client, get all files in directory. Okay. Recurse on and m gets star. Oh, wait, I'll just cd dot out of this, dir again, and just sort of get maybe commands underscore output. Or leave it, I'll just download it by hand because that's more fun. Okay. So get this. I think the most interesting thing to us would be this one right here, domain users. Let's wait for that to download. Okay, then we need to get the domain admins. Then let's just get the domain groups. See if there's a way to view files within SMB. Is there a way to do that? Oh. Wait for that to work. And I think it's stuck again. Okay, so that did that. Righty. So we've got all of our outputs there. So now let's just come here and let's just clear the screen and let's delay and sort of just cat this one, domain admins.txt. I pawned your company. The command is successful. So that means, okay, then, okay, so we got a credential here. Admin, I pawned your company. Maybe this is another administrator. I don't know what that is. Let me now put groups. And we get a bunch of groups here, which is domain admins, domain computers, domain controllers, domain guests. Now let's just try to get into the domain users. So cat domain users.txt. Okay. So it looks like this one right here, the I pawned your company, is actually an account that somebody made here. Seems kind of strange. Maybe it's a backdoor account. We don't know. We have support and we have all of this right here. Okay. Now let's just go back to our SMB, cd dot out of it, dir. Let's go into That is slow. Let's go into memory analysis. Made a mistake. Oh, okay. All right. So this file right here seems very interesting. We have an lsass.zip, which might possibly contain hashes. So let's set timeout to maybe 1000. Okay. And let me just see. Set timeout in SMB. From SMB. Let's just get that. Put that there. I'm pretty sure it's going to time out because it's a big file. So let me try relogging in like this. We come back here, clear the screen, put that there. Just change everything according to what we have here. So put the IP, copy the IP address, put the IP address there, followed by the share, which again I'm going to take it like this. Oh, my bad. It's forensic. Yeah, so forensic, followed by our credentials, which is going to be audit 2020 and percentage with on 1, 2, 3. I want to set it to 60. I want to set it to maybe 1000. It doesn't get timed. Oh, okay. So it's downloaded. Exit. LSLA. And we have our lsas.zip there. Perfect. Now let's unzip that. lsas.zip. Do LSLA again, and we get an lsas.dmp. So let's cat that, lsas.dmp. And it's sort of gibberish. lsass.dmp. Okay. Let's come back here. And do we have anything else that looks interesting? Nothing else that looks very interesting. So let's cd dot back out. And I think maybe we'll find a tool to sort of decrypt this in this one right there in the tools folder. So cd into tools, dir, sleuth kit, sysinternals, volatility. And this is.dmp. Kind of funny, but at the same time. That we can't decrypt this. Like we can't cat it. It's kind of funny that we have the LSASs over here, but we can't decrypt it for some reason. So basically, we have all the hashes under our arms, but we can't use it. It's going to go ahead and let me just see if there's any way to do that. lsass.dmp, how to decrypt. You can use a tool called PyPyCats. So let's see if we have that pre-installed. Yeah, we do. Perfect. So PyPyCats LSA and our file name. So first we're going to give them the command mini dump, followed by lsass.dmp. Oh, there we go. So now we get a bunch of hashes here. Let's scroll up to a hash that looks promising. Okay, so SVC backup. And there we go. So we have a hash for SVC backup here, an NT hash. Let's copy that. All right. Let me exit out of this. Evil WinRM. Try to evil WinRM back. Just copy the IP address from here. And possibly just see if a pass the hash works here or not. Right. So SVC underscore backup. And I'm going to re-put this with H, which stands for hash. And I'm going to copy the NT hash right here. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to press enter and hopefully we get a shell. Let's see if we get a shell. We even have one for the administrator. We have a hash. Oh, there we go. We are officially now on the system and we have access to the SVC backup. So now I'm going to come back here. I'm just going to run this with SVC backup again, back in Bloodhound. Mark that as owned and just see if we have any outbound. So we don't have any outbound object controls from this object right here, which means that our path is most likely a local exploit, a local privilege exploitation exploit. All right. So let's see what kind of permissions we have on this machine by running whoami/prib. And we have the SC backup. We have the SC backup setting enabled for us. So that means that we can now basically copy our SAM and the system, our SAM and system files into this folder right here, and download them onto our local machine, and dump them using a simple in package secrets.dump script. All right. So to do that, I'm going to be using the command reghklm save sam as sam.save. Let me just check it out online. reghklm sam as sam.save in c/users. Yeah, so that's how you do a directory. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste that here. And I'm going to replace this with SVC backup. And just put it all as capital instead, because I like it capital. So sam.save, press enter, and let's wait for it to run. And as you can see, the operation has been completed successfully. Now let's do the same for the system file as well, and for the security file. So let's go ahead and copy our system file next. So HKLM system c/users SVC backup system.save. Press enter. There we go. And that completed successfully as well. So perfect. So now that we have all of this done, I'm just going to go ahead and download them now. All right. And since we are on the evil WinRM terminal session here, we have a really cool command called download, and that basically lets us download anything from this target machine onto our local attack machine. So I'll just wait for that to finish running, and then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to see if we have an administrator hash. Yep, we do have an administrator hash as well, but I don't think we'll be able to gain access using it. SMB exec. I'm going to put the hash here, followed by the administrator IP address from there. And just BlackField.local. I'm going to change that to WM exec. Just enter. Okay, let me try that for SMB instead. Okay, so we got a connection timeout here. Let me just try logging on back again. Just clear this screen. Ping my IP again. Okay, so our IP is reachable, so this should work. Let's just wait for it to work. Okay, and we're back online. So I'm going to do cd dot dot. Just going to go back into our old folder there. And just sort of check and see if the operations have completed or not. So dir. You know what? Actually, let me just log in using SMB exec itself because. Oh no. Okay, so let's download it. Let's download that. So sam.save. It's going to go ahead and it's going to download the SAM file. And that should be kind of fast. And that looks like it's almost done. Let's just come here and see if it's downloaded or not. So LSLA, not yet. Still okay, perfect. So download successful. There we go. We have our sam.save now. So let's just wait for it to finish entirely. Now let's download our system.save. Press enter. And this might take a while because it's a really big file. So as you can see here, our download failed for this, for system.save. Just kind of strange. Let's see if it actually failed. Yeah, it did actually fail because it's because of this connection timeout. Let me try relogging in. And And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this into our SMB share. So let me just try to find out where exactly the share is located. And since we don't need this anymore, I'm going to try to log in using InPacket's SMB exec. And I'm going to replace the hashes with my hash here. And I'm going to put my IP here, the current IP in here, followed by the SVC underscore backup. This is going to be my domain name, which is BlackField. I'm going to press enter and just wait for it to sort of work. Hopefully it works. Come back here. Okay, we're back on this. So let me just go to the c/users folder. RPC access denied. Okay, what about if we try WMI exec? dir. So let's sort of try to figure out where our SMB sort of lives on this machine. So if I go into public, is it in there? Let me just see. Nope. Maybe it's in the init pub folder. Cd out of there. So even that doesn't work. Let me close all of this. Okay, so dirc/. Okay, so the profiles folder right there. Let me just copy that, which is in my SVC, right? So I'm going to PowerShell copy command, move command. So MVC/users SVC underscore backup. Wait, let me just go into cdc/profiles. Maybe that file doesn't exist, so we're going to get an error saying, oh, it's right there, dir into it. All right, so this is what we found in the SMB. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just do reg save hklm/system in here as system.save. It's the command that I used before. Okay, dir. All right, perfect. So now let me log in back to my NXC SMB as audit 2020 as just guest. If I remember right, guest. Just SMB client. just empty. Yeah, let's leave it as empty. Profiles. Sort of just get this one and put that here. Press enter. Let's cd dot dot out of there. We get a NT status timeout. Okay. SMB. Alrighty, so let me just check. SMD client timeout to 1000. We can use the flag timeout. So clear that out. SMB client and put the T to something like maybe 1000. 1000. Press enter. So what this T flag does is it sets the timeout rate to, I believe, to be maybe 1000 seconds, which is approximately 8 or 9, which is approximately 20 minutes. I'm not sure. So let me just download the system.save now. So it should be done within this time. All right. Meanwhile, let me enumerate for any other possible escalation pathways to root. Type notes.txt. Disable the auditor account. Probably have to back up and restore everything. Root.txt. Okay, so the connection is disconnected. And okay, we had to read our system.save there. Perfect. So now that that's downloaded as well, but 0. Okay. Let me just try doing the good old download function again by calling into users. Let me go into SVC backup again. One thing I hate about Evil NRM is that it's just incredibly slow compared to a reverse shell. So it's not a very good tool to use, especially if you're on a bad internet connection. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do get system.save. And since it's a big file, I don't expect it to download immediately. Oh, sorry. You have to use download, not get. My bad. Download system.save. So if you don't know what the system and SAM files do, they're basically the two files that hold all of the authentication hashes on the system, and by basically dumping them together, you get the access of the hash, right? So this is going to take forever. Mm, yes. Let's see this thing. Let me check if we have RDP enabled. Oh, no, we don't. Check file names or paths. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I didn't save it as system.save. Let me just scroll back up and see what I did. Execution expired. Right. Okay. System dot save too big to download. Backup privilege dump hashes of Windows. Files not properly managed tabs unauthorized users of processes can lead to privilege escalation vulnerability. So this is the same way that even they're doing it. And you have to download it. Let me check if there's a way to do it from the machine itself on Windows. So we're getting this error here, which says that download expired. Right, let me just put that there. See if we get any bits. Okay, so it's telling us to use okay, so let's try that. So let's start a Python server here on port 8000. And then over here, I'm going to use circuit to encode this. Okay, let's try this. Let's send it to our Kali machine. So our local IP address is 10.10.17.90.8000. Press enter. Let's see if we get a hit here. Okay, let's see what we did wrong there. Let me log on back on here, and we were supposed to put a C in the front. I just put ertutu. I think that's why it timed out again. So let me just cd dot back. Okay, and then we copy this command as it is. And just paste it here. So 10, 10, 17, 90, 8,000. And see if the command is all right. And our Python server also works. Press enter. So far, nothing. So the script contains malicious content or has been blocked by our antivirus software. Okay, no problem. Let's just make it listen on port 443. I'm going to straight away use web put it on 443. Maybe it's a port problem. Let's put that there again. Yeah, it's not going to work. Okay. All right, so let me see. Now, another way to do it is by starting an SMB server. So let me start an SMB server on my local machine. SMB server, share /temp. Okay, and then use copy files from Windows target machine to impacted SMB server. All right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is copy path to folder, share name /dmb/smb share. Let me just stop this. Let me just share. I'm going to say /home/kali/desktop/blackfield. Right, I'm going to put the share name or share itself. Okay, and just put the SMB2 support flag that we don't run into any authentication issues. Okay, press enter. So we get an error here saying that SMB support 2 not supported. So, SMB2 support, not SMB support 2, my bad. So let's just put that there, press enter, and sort of does that. Now we can just come to our target machine and do copy c/users/svc backup /system dot save system dot save to 10 10 17 90 1790. Our share name is just share. Let's see if that works. Maybe this article would be more helpful for us. Doesn't look like it's working, but let's hope. Okay, so it seems like it's worked, but I don't see anything here. So let me just come back, LSLA. Okay, perfect. So we have that here. Let's go. Now I can just do in packet secrets dump sam flag as sam.save and system as system.save, and just put the whole thing as local. Press enter, and we get another error saying target. So let me just check for in packet the syntax. In packet secrets dump syntax. And system. Okay, so I think the problem is I put that as a flag there. Maybe that's why. So let me just change that to local. And there we go. So now we have our administrator hash here. So let's try to log in using that and also using in packets WMI exec. I'm going to remove that hash. Going to use this one instead, the first one. Gonna copy that. Gonna put that there. Gonna press enter. All right. Let's also equal winrm. Sometimes equal winrm works better. We get an error saying bad username. Status logon failure. Okay, let's just use equal winrm. So 1070 administrator. And then I'm going to put a H over here and sort of log in with this hash right here. Is it this? God, let's check. LM hash, NT hash. So I think it's going to be this one maybe. Do I authenticate to even I am using LM hash or NT hash? So that would be the last hash over here. Yep, this one right here. I'm gonna press enter there. And let's see if we get a shell. So I think even here, that's why the reason it failed. It's because we didn't use the right hash. So let me just put that there. Whichever one comes first. Okay, so I don't know why. And there we go, we get our shell over here. So we can now officially mark this machine as rooted. So thank you so much for watching this walkthrough on a BlackField. Hope you enjoyed it, and please do like and subscribe if you want to see more like this. Thank you.